It started running in July 2023 and it made enormous 340% profit. Hey everybody, Marin here from the Algo trading space team. In today's video, I want to walk you through one very interesting robot, which I'm sure most of you will like because it trades a lot. It is a very active EA and it can trade multiple currency pairs. I will show you my live account setup, the mistakes which I did and almost blow my account, the backtests, and if you stay until the end of the video, I will show you what is my plan for this account going forward. But before we jump into the trading stuff, let me ask you for a favor. I see many of you watching our videos are not subscribed to the channel. I know YouTube just shows the videos on your phone screen, you click on those and watch them and forget to subscribe. If you simply hit that subscribe button, this will help our channel grow a lot and also help our team to find and review more great ideas for you. Okay, let's go into real trading. So I'm on the Algo Trading Space homepage right now, and like I said, the EA which I will show you today is a very frequently trading EA. So I'll just type here frequency, and you can see here on the first spot, Happy Frequency EA. As you might imagine from the name, this EA is developed by Happy Forex vendor. The developers of Happy Forex robot, also of Happy Gold and few other good strategies. But let me show you the account which I'm going to be talking about today. So I'll scroll down to the account section and I'll just switch to table view, and here you can see all the accounts that we have with this EA, and I want to focus on the first account, which is a live $200 account with Black Bull Markets, running for almost 3 months now, and you can see it made a 53% gain. The current balance is above $300, but there is a floating loss of around $40, and we have amazing profit factor of almost 3.50. But let me show you the track record and explain the setup that I have in this account. And you can see a very steady balance line here. The account started on the 7th of October and it was growing rapidly until this moment. I made a change here and I'll tell you what was the change, and then it's still growing but just with a slower pace. So what happened actually here on the 26th of November? Let me switch to the floating profit and loss chart to explain something here. As you can see here, the majority of the time the account was staying with the floating loss. Still very high win rate, very high weekly return and monthly return, but this floating loss was something which I haven't planned initially. And you can see that the floating loss kind of recovered that moment, and now we're still getting into a floating loss, and that's why I decided to show you this robot and to show you my setup and what is my plan going forward for this account. So let me go to the order tab, and you can see here that currently I have few open trades with the Aussie USD. The first one opened on the 26th of November and few opened in December, and this one opened at the end of December. And as you can see here from the stats, this is a grid strategy, but it's not martingale, so it just adds to the position but without increasing the lot. And if I go to the closed orders, you can easily see and understand what the strategy is doing by just focusing on the pips column. So you can see here the first trade, when it opened, when it closed, and what is the profit. It is 7 pips here. This is with Euro Pound. Then we have another trade with Euro USD, which closed on 7.1 pips profit. Then another one with Euro USD again with 7 pips profit. And you can clearly see here that these trades opened and then closed on the same day, and these are not grid trades. These were just single trades. But then eventually, if you follow the results, you can see this block of trades here. So what's happening here? First, we see that the close date is the same. So these two trades closed on the same time. But then we have the open date for the first one, which is the 10th of October. And 3 days later, the second trade opened. Most likely this was Friday and Monday during the weekend, I suppose. And what's going on here? We have a trade opened with Euro Pound with 0.01 watt, and then the other trade opened with the same watt. And overall, they closed on a profit of 14 pips, which is twice the 7 pips which we have seen in the most of the trades before and also after that. So maybe you see what's happening here. We have an EA which is targeting 7 pips profit per trade. And if there is a basket of 2 trades, the target profit will be again 7 pips per trade or combined 14 pips like you saw in this example. So this account was doing well, but then at some moment I noticed that it is staying with a higher floating loss. And let me show you that. If I go to the stats, charts, floating profit and loss, you can see that at one moment we reach more than minus 40% floating loss, which is not a big issue in a $200 account, but if the account was bigger, this would eventually cause problem. And actually recently I showed you my setup with the Happy EAs running on a small $200 account. You can watch this video here. But what happened after I have been running the account for a few months? I had to close the account because it reached 50% equity drawdown. I figured out that $200 is way too risky and not enough for running multiple grid strategies. So eventually I figured out that $200 is not enough for running 3 symbols of a grid strategy. And I have just removed the Euro Pound and Euro USD and let them close the trades. But let me show you the MetaTrader platform to see what I'm talking about. So I'm here on my VPS, and before I show you the order history, let me first show you the settings that I'm using here. So you can see there aren't many settings here. You can control the first vote, you can also control the equity stop out, and if I turn this to true, when the equity goes above 50%, this will close all the trades, but this is a small $200 account, so I'm not going to be changing this right now. And what else do we have? We have the calendar source and whether or not to avoid news. So that's it for the setup. I have been using the same setup for the Euro USD, Pound USD and Aussie USD pairs, and like I said, I have a floating loss of around $40-50, but like you see, the EA is still active. The last trade was opened on the 29th of December and it's the 30th of December today, and actually if I go here, you can see I have multiple trades opened yesterday and one opened and closed today. So the EA keeps trading even if we have several open trades. It has a take profit for those, so eventually when the price reaches this take profit level, it will close the trades. So in the order history, you can see the latest trades that I have are with the Aussie USD. Actually here on 1st of December, I have the last trade closed with a different currency pair, with the Euro Pound. So this trade was opened on the 26th of November and actually closed here. And what I did, once I noticed that the floating loss is going very big, I just removed the Euro dollar and then I removed the Pound dollar. So at that moment, I started to think that something with my setup is not being okay. Either the robot is not suitable for a small $200 account, or I was using the wrong pairs for that account size. So I made a lot of backtests until I figured out what is the setup that I should be using going forward. Before I show you the backtest, I want to show you the vendor's track record with this account. And if I go to the happy frequency page on Algo trading space, you can click on the strategy here and you will go to the developer website. This is, like I said, the Happy Forex developer, and under expert advisors, Happy Full Pack 10 EAs, I opened that one, and here I will scroll to the happy frequency, and if I scroll to the bottom of the page, you can see the track record from the developer. We have it here, happy frequency, real account. You can see this is a $2,000 account, started running in July 2023, and it made enormous 340% profit already. Here's the daily gain, monthly gain, and the drawdown. And if I click on the drawdown, you can see also on their account at some points they were staying with a higher floating loss, but eventually what happened? The EA recovered, or they have just removed some of the traded assets, and now it is running with a relatively stable drawdown. Still a drawdown, but not that big compared to the account size that they have and the profit that they have made. And if I scroll a little bit down to the summary, what I want to show you is the traded currency pairs. You can see here the Aussie USD, which I have been trading on my live account. You can also see the Euro Pound, which I have been trading also, and the Euro USD. And if I sort them by profit, you can see the Pound USD and the Euro USD are profitable. Also, we have here the dollar yen. But let me point again that this is a $2,000 account, and I was running the same on a $200 account. So what I figured out as a problem in my setup, I have performed extensive backtests with plenty of currency pairs, actually 28 currency pairs, although this robot is supposed to be trading just 8 or 9 of them. And let me show you the summarized results for my backtests. For this, I will be using the Algo Trading Space website, and I will just go to Algo Trading Space, I will just go to my account, then scroll down to analysis apps, and you can access some apps which we have created for ourselves, and they are free to use. You just need to register on Algo Trading Space to access them. So we have the backtest manager. This is the thing which I'm going to be using today. And if I go to the bulk manager, I can upload here multiple strategy tester reports. So I just need to find the folder where my reports are, and you can see them here. Actually, these are 28 reports as far as I remember. Yes, so I will just click on process all, and the app will start loading the reports and processing the information from them. So the backtests have been uploaded. I will order them by average monthly profit, and you can see here that we have several profitable backtests for the backtesting period since the end of 2020. And actually, this is a pretty long period for M5 strategy. Usually we backtest the M5 strategies for the last 3 years because this is a very short time frame and they trade actively. So this is really a long period of time. So what I will do now is quickly go through the backtest, see the performance, and then I will decide which pair I'm going to be trading in this account. Okay, so I went through the backtest results, and actually based on the performance, I liked also the performance of the New Zealand CAD. You saw that the euro dollar shows the most stable performance in terms of return, but I already have another EA trading the euro dollar. Also, I have another EA trading the other currency pairs, and currently I don't have a robot trading the New Zealand CAD. And because I want to diversify my portfolio across different currency pairs and different strategies, I will be trading the New Zealand CAD in this account. But pay attention to this. If I go to the vendor's track record, you can see see that they don't have the New Zealand cat here, and the reason is that this is not one of the currency pairs for which this robot is designed to work with, but my backtest showed that it can perform well. And also, other important thing, you can see that all the currency pairs they trade here are being profitable since the time they are running this account, but my backtest started earlier and some of the pairs failed. So what does it mean? This means that earlier, before this period of starting the account, these pairs did not perform well, which doesn't mean they are bad pairs, of course. You can see here clearly on a $2,000 account, again, this is very important, most of the pairs would perform very well, but on a smaller account size, I need to be cautious and I need to pick very carefully. Like I showed to you, I trade this account with Black Bull Markets, which is a very good broker. They offer very competitive trading conditions, very well spreads. I also like a lot the leverage that you can get with their accounts. And actually, I'm currently trading this robot on the ECN Prime account with the spread starting from 0 pips and commission $3 per side, and also 1 to 500 leverage. So if I switch to my account, you can see here the happy frequency and the balance. This is a Prime account, and what I will do right now is I will just go to my wallet, then to internal transfer, and I will transfer from my wallet, which is here. I will use that one as a source, and then I will just fund the happy frequency live account, and I will just add $800 to that account. It's that simple. And why I'm adding $800? Because the initial balance here was $200 and I want to make it 1,000, so I'll just add 800 more, and I'll click on submit, proceed. And if I go back to the trading platform, you can quickly see that in a matter of seconds we have this transfer here and the money is added to the account, and now my floating cost doesn't look that big. Like I explained, I want to replace this currency pair, so I'll just add the New Zealand cat in the market watch, add a new chart window, switch to M5, and then I'll go to the expert advisors and I'll find the happy frequency and attach it to the chart. Now here I will use the stop out because this will be a $1,000 account and I don't want it to go above 50% equity drawdown, so I'll just enable the safe equity stop out setting and I'll keep the 50% default setting here for the risk, and all I have to do is put my license key, I click OK, and that's it. You can see that the New Zealand cat has been added here on the chart, and actually in just a few seconds we have the first trade placed. It has a take profit, as you can see, and it is for the New Zealand cat. I decided to experiment here, make something different, and I want to see how this new currency pair will perform this account based on my backtest. So this was my account setup based on backtest of the happy frequency EA. As usual, I want to list several pros and cons about this strategy. So on the positive side, first of all, I will say that the strategy is created by a reliable developer who created the Happy Forex, Happy Gold, and few other great strategies. So I personally trust in their robots. I like the way they trade. I'm used to them, and this is a positive thing to me. On the second spot, this EA is very active. You can see it can easily make 5 trades per day. I know many of you are looking for active EAs. They want from the moment they place the robot on the chart to see activity. So this EA is perfect for you if you're that kind of trader. Then on the third spot, I like the fact that this robot trades so many currency pairs. You can experiment on what we did. Although you saw, according to my backtest with my historical data, that in the long run, like 7-8 years, the backtest performance for a $1,000 account may not be stable, but if you run it on a $2,000 account like the vendor, or even bigger $5,000, $10,000 account, you can have much better performance because there will be a lot of margin for the grid. On the negative side, I would say the grid again. This is a great strategy and it can open more and more trades, and if the market is trending but in a bad direction, this could end up blowing the account. Another thing which I personally don't like a lot in this strategy is the lack of customizations and settings. I can only control the stop out and the lots. I would prefer to be able to control the pips. Few other stuff, maybe we can see this in the future as a future development for the robot, but for now we have just a few things that we can control, and personally I feel a little bit limited in terms of the settings that I can use. Still, this is a set it and forget it robot actually. You place it on the chart, there's nothing that you need to change. Actually, you can use the default settings and it will still keep working. So if you have been testing this strategy already or you plan to do it, I would love to hear your thoughts in the comments below. And actually, this robot is part of our free EA campaign, where you can get a free license for the robot if you open an account with some of our partner brokers. I will put the link to the campaign page in the description below. And if you like this video, take a look at the Happy Neuron video review, which will pop up at the end of this video, where I show another great robot trading multiple currency pairs, again trading with this 7 pips profit per trade, but it is not that active. It uses a different strategy, some kind of an AI. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye.